You can call me overconfident. That's fine. But Auburn versus Baylor should not be difficult here.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, I'm Zach Blackerby. This is a bonus edition of Locked On Auburn. He's Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend. Auburn versus Baylor. Yes, it's a 7.5-point spread. Yes, I'm shocked that line hasn't moved at all, and I don't really see many people giving Baylor a shot, Darrell. And I think that's okay. I think this one, both on paper and when it comes to like in practice of where both of these programs are headed, they could not be more different. I think everyone going to Auburn went to see like, okay, cool, Golesh is about to bring this program back. And the people that went to Baylor is, all right, a lot of them seem like backup plans and like second, like this is my second option. Like you look at DJ Lagway, like incredibly highly touted guy, goes to Florida, then he has to go find his way somewhere else for like another second chance. I think the total vibe around both of these programs is just so dramatically different. And I think next Saturday when these two teams face off in Atlanta, that's what it's going to look like.
These types of games, because they're openers and there is so much, as far as unknown, could be a little scary. I mean, you don't know with a new coach. You don't know what Auburn's going to look like coming out, how this is going to work, how this is going to mesh. But I think when you look at purely off seasons and you look at what has Auburn done from a coaching standpoint, they hired a bright, young, up-and-coming coach that has really revitalized that program. Baylor's got somebody who's on the hot seat and could be considered a lame duck in Aranda, okay? Again, we've talked about this before, positions. Did they really upgrade anything? Is Lagway better than Robertson? They lost their best running back to Auburn, Trigg, so another receiver. So not playing in Waco matters. They're typically and traditionally hard to beat there. Playing in Atlanta. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that we're going to see a coming out party and a show, and it's just going to be one of those matchups where Auburn, you can tell, has a little more depth, has a little bit better coaching as far as developing what's happened since spring, who's gone on campus. And then look at the X factors. I mean, if you went position by position, Auburn comes out on top a lot of those. Now, games aren't played on paper. And turnovers and penalties and just shooting yourself in the foot, what has been an epidemic for Auburn over the last few years, and finding ways to lose close games. I don't think this staff has that DNA. I just don't. They're just different, and it's because they do pay attention to the little things. Like I can see a scenario, Zach, where Auburn wins this game by 2 touchdowns and Golesh is pissed. Seriously. I mean, in the press conference, he's like, we didn't play our best. We left points on the board, points on the table. Defensively, we couldn't get off the field. Even though you win the game comfortably, he is that guy that's going to pick apart in the post game and look not satisfied with what happened. And for that reason, one of many, I think that's a huge difference maker in this game.
Yeah, 100%. And you're right. It's not won and lost on paper, but talent does matter. It does. And there's just not many spots where you look at Baylor and you're like, yeah, that guy on Baylor would start at that same position at Auburn.
That's key. That's a very, very good point, and I think that's very key. And you
had a few last year. Quarterback.
Yes.
Quarterback last year.
Trigg.
Oh my goodness.
And by the way, I'm a Cobb lover. I mean, outside of corner on the Cobb, Jeremiah Cobb's my favorite Cobb. And I'm telling you that Bryson Washington was every bit as good as Jeremiah Cobb last year.
Sure.
So
yeah, Bryson. There's a reason we were so excited about Bryson Washington when he came here, right?
But coaches that are really, really good and get the most out of their players can sometimes overcome a little bit of a talent disparity and win the game. Auburn's got both on that side of the ledger. They got that coach that can make the most out of what he has, and they have the better talent.
Yes. The biggest difference to me is the same thing I said going into last season. And we'll discuss that in just a moment right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Kalshi. Kalshi is the #1 prediction market before the season even kicks off. What are we doing? We're predicting, and you can do with so many different markets over at Kalshi. Actually, the first market I bought into was Auburn beating Baylor. The odds haven't moved that much. It was at 52%. I'm like, that seems so low to me. So yeah, I got in on the action, and it was cool. I put in $25, and their promo right now is if you bet $10, if you trade $10, you get $10. So I traded $10, and my account balance didn't go down, which is kind of fun. So download the Kalshi app, use code Locked On to get $10 when you trade $10. That's what I did. Kalshi, Kalshi, trade on anything. The biggest difference between Auburn and Baylor, and there's a lot of differences, directions of the program, confidence in their new head coaches, or it's just their head coach in general. No one in Waco is like, yes, we've still got Dave Aranda, right? Like, that's just not what you're hearing, and the confidence from that. To me, the biggest difference, and I said this going into it, and I was 100% correct, trench play on both sides of the ball dramatically goes in Auburn's favor. And while we have some questions about whether it's continuity on the offensive line or depth on the offensive line or what the pass rush situation looks like on the defensive line or interior defensive line depth and rotation, those are all reasonable questions. I don't think we'll get the answer to those questions against Baylor, because I do think when it comes to trench play, Auburn should outmatch the Baylor Bears.
Great point. I mean, and I think that games like as you mentioned, are won and lost in trench play. I also like the specialists and the skill guys that Auburn has, but everything starts there. And, if Auburn's defensive line goes too deep and is disruptive and is, I guess, surprisingly good, like we've heard, they could really overtake and eat on that Saturday with Baylor. And then that causes Lagway to rush and make decisions and that kind of thing. So sacks, turnovers, that kind of thing, those things matter, and they'll make a big difference.
I think they do. I mean, we saw that last year, right? I mean, there was that super iconic thing. I thought it would be iconic. It's probably forgotten now, but in the locker room when they're like interviewing Jackson, and then Damari Alston's walking by and he's like, death, taxes, Auburn going to run the football. And it was awesome. Like, the vibes were never higher last season than they were at that specific moment. And Auburn social media is leaning into it. Then they're like, we're not going to run it anymore. Right. But Baylor chose to play too high the entire game. I don't know. If I was Baylor trying to stop Auburn week 1, I would make Byram throw it personally, because you've got the backs, you've got the mobile quarterback. I would make Byram throw it. And Darrell, there's a chance that, like, by the end of the first quarter, there's like 1 or 2 plays and it just busts the whole thing open. Like if Chaz gets loose on a seam, or if Koger beats somebody deep, like Keyshawn, like, it's over at that point. If that's the way Baylor chooses to attack Auburn, which I think is what they should do, if Auburn takes advantage of that, it's over.
If he didn't learn his lesson about playing too high last year and Jackson Arnold ate him up with quarterback run, Byron Brown, I'm going to go for 250. I mean, that's the difference. I mean, he stayed in that, and the quarterback run just was the difference in winning that game and Auburn's running game. If he counters and says, I can't get beat like that again, I can't do that again, I think Auburn's in a lot better position this year to take advantage of that with the receivers and some of the things they can do.
Yep, absolutely. So I don't think we should overthink it. Yes, you've got to go out there and play the game 100%, 100%. And we've got a coach that understands that. They're not, and we've got a player who's, with mentality. I love that they're doing this mock game week to kind of prep for everything. But to me, like, don't overthink this. Auburn's the better team. Auburn's got the better coaches. They've got the better quarterback. What are we doing here? So they do have the chance to make a statement. Now, it won't matter, right? Because 2 weeks later, you play Florida, who I think will be significantly better than Baylor. And that's when we really kind of see like what all's on the table. But just from a fan base that is desperately wanting a moment, that desperately deserves a moment, how awesome would it be if Auburn just controlled the whole thing throughout?
That would be nice.
Wouldn't that be a celebration in Atlanta?
It would be nice to have the game absolutely in hand in the third quarter. See Tia come in. I mean, that would be nice. And last time I said that, Auburn almost lost a football game. But what I will say is keep an eye. And one of the key things I think in this football game to keep an eye on is your one-on-one battles outside. Because I could be wrong, but I cannot see Aranda sitting back high like it did. So I think he's going to come up and press a little bit, do like you said, make Byram beat him. Mm-hmm. And then that's where Singleton and Koger and Nim. Let's see what happens in those one-on-one battles that will develop that way. And I think they're going to try to take Cobb, and if Washington plays, knowing him, the familiarity, come up to the line of scrimmage some, and I hope they do. Mm-hmm. And that's where, guess what? A tight end, which rumor has it still exists, could be utilized behind that group that comes up and walks up to the line of scrimmage.
Come on, let's go. What do you think? Are we too overconfident? Let us know in the comments down below or hit us up on socials. Darrell, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
You can find me here with you, Locked on Auburn, also Auburn Daily as well.
Yep, auburndaily.com. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.